Okay, y'all, I'm going to read this recipe out to you because I want you to make sure that your Thanksgiving sweet potato casserole is the best ever. So, we boiled our sweet potatoes till they were fork tender. Then I brought them over to the sink and I emptied them in this colander. Then I put them over there in my mixer. You could use a hand mixer if you want to, but you want to mix those potatoes up really good before you put anything in them. Okay, after you do that, make sure they're really creamy. You want to add a half a stick of butter. And make sure that you melt your butter in the microwave or something because you want it to be everywhere and you don't want to just put it in there like chunks. So melt you a half a stick, put it in there. Do that around a while or two. And then put in, I've got a fourth a cup of milk. But today, I put in just a little bit more because it seemed like they were still a little stiff. And you know, I want them, you see them, you want them creamy. And you add 2 eggs, and that's going to make it congeal together. And 1 cup of sugar, that's white sugar. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So let's go over it again. I had 8 sweet potatoes. They were fairly large. A half a stick of butter, a fourth of a cup of milk, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and you beat all that together. You know, I'm going to add a little bit of a cinnamon on mine, but don't add too much. You won't even be able to taste your potato if you do. And so I wanted to make sure that you had all the ingredients, and when you mix that up, it's going to be real creamy, and then we're going to put it in our casserole dish. So I wanted you to know that because I want your sweet potato casserole this year to be the very best it's ever been. Now, if you've got a lot of kids that don't like pecans, you could take part of it out and make a tiny little casserole and just put little marshmallows on that and just get your casserole hot. And at the last, put a few marshmallows, put it back in the oven, and let those kind of toast up in there, and they'll like that. All right, we're going to go on now with making our topping. All right, let's make our topping for our sweet potatoes. What you're going to need is 1/3 of a cup of self-rising flour, 3/4 of a cup of melted butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, mine's kind of knotting up a little bit this morning, but that butter will melt it up good. It'll stop it from moving, won't it? A little bit more. Okay, 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of pecans. And I put about 1.5 cups because you know what? I like pecans. I'm going to look around and I'm going to just kind of rough chop them just a little. I don't want them real little. I want them to show that they are a pecan. I don't like to grind mine in a grinder or anything like that. I like for them to be kind of chunky. You're going to have some pieces that are smaller than others. And this goes on the top of your sweet potato casserole. And it'll be kind of like almost like a little cookie top. Because you've got that flour in there and the brown sugar and all. While you mix that up, you want to make sure that your flour gets all mixed in it good. See there, you got all your ingredients in there. And it needs to be, it'll be kind of dry. It'll be kind of dry. I've already made me a sweet potato casserole, but I wanted to show you how. I put mine in the refrigerator yesterday. All right, let me show you how this looks so you'll kind of know. I'm going to taste one of them. That's good. All right, so you've got your pecans and your flour and your sugar and your butter in this. And see how it's kind of like this? It's kind of crumbly. You're going to crumble that all on top of that sweet potato casserole. Then you're going to cook it at 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. you want to cook it long enough just to get hot. But what I do, let me wash my hands off. But what I do is when I make mine for Thanksgiving, I make it the day before. Now here's the one that I made yesterday, the day before, so you can kind of see. Let me undo it. I had it in the refrigerator. See how it's going to look like that. And what I do is I make it the day before because you know how busy everybody is on Thanksgiving Day. Heck, you can't, I mean, it's terrible. We're just working our little self to death trying to get the dressing ready and all that. But anyway, so I make mine the day before, and on the day of Thanksgiving, I actually get it out of the refrigerator early that morning and let it get room temperature. That way, when you put it in your oven at 350 degrees, it hadn't got to get, I mean, it can start cooking. So you may not need to cook it 40 minutes. You make sure you check. Remember, all ovens cook differently. You don't need to peek in there and see. Once it gets piping hot and these little nuts on it start kind of getting brown, you know, you don't want to get them burnt, then it's ready. Hey, take it out. You'll be ready. And you've got all that out of the way. It's like my mama said, before Thanksgiving gets there, you have all your desserts made. You have your sweet potato casserole ready to pop in the oven. And then on the morning of Thanksgiving, you can make that last minute stuff. So anyway, this is going to be delicious, and I think you're going to be really happy with it. Love y'all today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.